Secrets Behind the Secrets by Lexx. Warning, may contain content not suitable for children. Language, blood, violence, and some drug references. Prologue. My name is Jen Woods. I'm a forensics officer for the CPD, Chicago Police Department. These next few cases are some of my very own successes, catching perps and bringing them to justice. Now, since I am technically a police officer, I talk like one. So if you see any bolded words you don't know, feel free to look them up in the glossary at the end of each case. You are now going to endure cases of murder, deception, kidnapping, dead magicians, literal gold diggers, freaking awesome hostage situations in airports, and more. So be prepared for anything. Welcome to another episode of the A for Effort series, Secrets Behind the Secrets. I'm Lex Fusco, and joining me as per usual is my husband and writer in crime, Connor McKibben Vaughn.
What's up? Hello.
Today we are tackling Case 5, Preaching the Horse's Mouth.
What? No, what is that supposed to mean?
Okay.
In your brain? In your mind?
In my mind, when I wrote this at 12, my mom actually called me out on this at one point when I was telling her about when I was like writing this, and she's like, Lex, what does that mean? And I'm like, oh, people say that all the time. And she was like, Lex,
Wait.
I don't think that's right. And I'm like, no, people say it all the time. And what I hadn't realized, and I was actually 24 years old when I had realized this.
Did you smush together preaching to the choir and...
Gift horse in the mouth? You're goddamn right I did.
That's what it's from? Gift horse in the mouth?
Yeah, you're not supposed to look a gift horse in the mouth and preaching to the choir. And I just bushed them together to make this preaching the horse's mouth.
I'm going to be honest. I don't know what a gift horse is to this day. Like, I know what the saying means. I just don't know what a gift horse is.
Well, if you know what the saying means, then you know what a gift horse is.
No, I just know what context to use it is in.
So if someone gifts you a horse, don't look in their mouth because their teeth are rotten and the horse is definitely near death and can't really do anything for you. So don't look it in the mouth. Don't look a kindness too closely, basically.
Oh, always be suspicious. Never trust anybody.
Never trust any. That's the Jen Woods way.
I mean, you're not wrong. So that's the title.
That's the title.
Preaching the horse's mouth.
Preaching the horse's mouth. There is a horse involved in this case.
Something that I've been considering is the fact that I should have been trying to guess what these are about or what the ending will be just based off of the title.
Mm-hmm.
And thinking about this last week, I realized I can't do that. One, because the past experiences have shown me there's not a chance in hell I'd ever guess how any of these end. A kid dies. Turns out it was his pedophile stepfather.
It wasn't even... It was Greg.
Oh, that's right.
That's
right.
Oh.
Never mind. It wasn't his pedophile stepfather. It was his best friend.
His best friend's pedophile stepfather that they needed to frame for murder.
I like how in that one, both kids made it out, except for that little girl that he killed in the middle, and no one really...
No, the best friend died. Mikey died in custody.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
So, okay, never mind. You did... That's... Because I was going to say, in the next one, you immediately kill a 7-year-old.
I
but
do.
You went through great lengths to save all the children in that one. At least Greg, for some reason.
And he was never in any real danger.
Yeah. And then
he actually made it worse for everybody.
The next time that really threw me off was when it turned out that it wasn't any of the magicians or their assistants. It was a random doctor who one of them kind of knew and was like, by the way, I'm a serial killer. Maybe.
Is definitely a serial killer. Definitely a delusional serial killer.
I'm still going to try.
Okay. All right. So what do you think Jen is going to tackle this week with Preaching the Horse's Mouth, case number 5 of 7.
Because I now know that you think that that's a saying, I thought it was going to be a mashup where a preacher killed a horse ranch person or used a horse to kill someone to make it seem like an accident. But because I now know that that's not a pun, kind of, and it's actually what you think it is.
Yeah.
I'm going to say that this is your homage to the Western. And Jen is going to become like a sheriff.
She's going to become more of a not cop.
Well, she's going to take the law into her own hands more.
Yeah. All right. So let's jump into case 5, preaching the horse's mouth.
I'm excited. I'm a little scared, too.
Hey, Dad. No, I'm fine. I take the car out
I
one
don't know
time.
what's happening already.
Every single one is started immediately with dialogue, except
All
for
of them?
except for game over. Yeah.
Wow.
And you called me out on it last time too.
Oh. They all just blur together.
I know. Hey, Dad. No, I'm fine. I take the car out one time and you're already hounding me. Yes, I know. Seatbelt.
It's not your car.
Yes, I know. Seatbelt, airbag, 911. I'm not 5 years old. And I did take driver's ed.
I'm 10. Because I assume that that's when people are allowed to drive here. Because some 10-year-old blackmailed a doctor in one of these.
I also capitalized ed for some reason.
Like driver's ed?
Like driver's ed.
But not drivers?
No, and it also says I did take drives ed, but I just read it how it was supposed to be.
You're very kind to yourself.
I know. Love you too. Bye. Marissa Court hung up her bubblegum pink cell phone and threw it into the back of the Ford Explorer. She turned into her riding stable and she parked the car.
Is this not in Chicago anymore? Do you just assume that there are horse stables in Chicago?
Yeah.
Oh.
She turned into her riding stable, and as she parked the car, she smelled something potent and awful. Ew, what is that? She questioned aloud.
It's horse poop.
Yeah.
Come on. You've been here before.
She got out of her car and saw a chestnut-colored Arabian horse lying on its side. Dead.
Oh, it's a dead horse?
It's a dead horse.
All right. If it's a dead horse, the police aren't going to solve that murder. It's not technically a murder.
Ah! She screamed. The horse's stomach was staple gunned shut, but not very well.
Oh, is this like Hannibal?
I guess.
A man crawls out of a horse in Hannibal.
Oh, well, no one's crawling out of this horse.
Oh, he's dead.
Very much so.
Uh-oh.
Spoiler alert, guys. A rib poked through the skin on the horse's abdomen. Getting to the point, it was disgusting.
I would keep describing it because I'm fine with it, but some of you losers might not be.
So you fucking pussies can't handle anything. She regained her balance and ran to her car to retrieve her cell phone, and she quickly dialed 911. If we had a theme song, it would probably go now.
Oh my God. You wanted this to be a TV show so goddamn bad.
Also, I have to apologize to our listeners. I just edited a whole bunch of episodes of this show, and my laugh is so fucking annoying. I can't help my husband's comedic genius. Anyway, 15 minutes later, Nick and I showed up at the scene.
Wow.
We're good. We're so good. We're so good at what we do. We're so good.
I think 11 and now apparently 12. You knew that you were 12 when you wrote this episode?
Yeah.
Okay. 12-year-old Lexx never paid attention how long it took to get places.
Nope.
Either that or you live somewhere where you were always 15 minutes away from something.
I mean,
Was it probably both?
It's definitely both.
Okay.
I definitely... Because here's the other thing. Again, this is all very much structured like a TV show episode that I'm watching. And there's no sense of time when you're watching something because it just cut to commercial, cut to scene, cut like... The time happens in the cuts.
I know, but you went out of your way to specify that it took them 15 minutes.
But because it was what I was watching, I was like, it didn't take them that long to get there. Couldn't have. They're right here. They're here already.
They were in mid-sentence, and then it cut, and they were still talking about it.
And they got in the car, and I had to give them time to at least start the car and start driving. So, give them a little bit of time. Hey, Paige, the file says a horse was killed. Why do you need us? Nick questioned. He was right. We basically specialize with human homicidal maniacs.
Yeah, if someone's killing dogs, that's animal control's problem, right?
This is a horse.
Any animal.
Well, okay. So I wrote 14-year-old, but I crossed out 14 and wrote 16, and I don't know why that matters.
She was driving, right?
Ah, yeah, that's why.
You were like... He's going to be 14. Oh, wait. I like childhood trauma, but she has to be able to drive. Which means I have to change it.
Well, 16-year-old Marissa Court lives only about a block away, and since we humans are slowly losing our ability to walk, she drove up here to her riding stable.
What is that a commentary on?
I couldn't tell you. Teenagers in cars, that never goes well, I laughed. She parked, smelled something awful, and checked it out. She found the horse and immediately called 911. When dispatch heard the call, ACU rolled, and when they got here, they picked up the horse. Or at least tried. The Arabian was 797 pounds. That's 120 pounds overweight. And you couldn't get a horse to weigh this much even if you fed it lard and McDonald's burgers.
That's a really specific amount of weight that it's overweight. I also
You
like
know why?
how...
You know why?
Because it's a person.
Because 120 pounds is how much a person weighs.
A really skinny person.
You want to bet that it's a kid? You want to put money down on that?
It's another teenager.
You want to put money down on that?
You know what? No, because you're probably right. Either if it's not though.
Oh,
I don't know where you were going with it.
They sliced it open and a kid fell out. Paige frowned. I mean, I guess I think you know what?
Is this because of SVU?
No, it's because of bones. But I think ultimately, you probably couldn't fit an adult inside of the cavity of a horse.
I have it on good authority that you can.
I'll keep this one in. I'll keep this bit in.
It's from Hannibal.
Oh, I thought you were implying that you had stuffed someone in a horse. And that was the joke. Oh, no.
It was a callback to the fact that I had seen this already in a TV show.
But this predates that television show.
Yours was a child.
I'm going to sue
and also
Brian Fuller.
I'm coming for you.
Okay. Okay.
All right. And back to the action.
That's just gross, Nick glowered.
What do you think glowered mean? That's just gross.
That's exactly what I thought glowered meant.
I don't like it when this job is gross. We deal with dead bodies, Nick. Yeah, but sometimes they're just like sitting there all nice and pretty with only like one bullet wound and it's great. But this is...
Or that rapper who was full of gold. Not a mark on him.
Yeah. I even got rich off that. I stole his organs. It was for money.
Nick Mitchelson, age 13, lives in that house right up there, Paige reported, pointing to the medium-sized cottage on the top of the hill.
No, I want to get back to it.
Okay.
Why so many kids?
I legitimately believe, okay, so something that I never give credence to, and I don't know if it's just because I'm an asshole or because I actually firmly believe it. I hate when people are like, you can only write what you know. To which my counter is, we wouldn't have Alien. We wouldn't have Lord of the Rings. We wouldn't have any of the things that we have that live outside of any kind of reality. And yet, we have this. So I legitimately believe, first off, I was watching a lot of content a la SVU specifically that involved a lot of kids, but I really do think it's because I was that old.
Okay.
And by the way, they weren't kids. They were older than I was. Almost all of these kids, except for Cassie and Ironic Sensitivity, were older than I was.
But they're still children.
Yeah.
You just didn't consider them children because anything older than you isn't a child.
Yeah, and I think like in this real, I don't know if anyone else had this experience, and please enlighten me if you had, but like when I was in like 5th grade and 6th grade, if I saw anyone in 8th grade plus, they looked like full-grown adults to me. Like I was,
you know what?
I was a 6th grader.
I'm gonna agree with you because
yeah.
I went to a very, very small elementary and middle school that ended in 8th grade. And I remember they would take a picture of every 8th grade class and hang it on a wall. So there was this long hallway of every grade, every 8th grade. And I remember seeing some of those and going, look at all these grown-ups, like, leaving this school.
Yeah.
And I'm 2 years younger than them, 3 years younger than them. And then it doesn't hit me, like, even when I'm a year younger than them, I'm just like, I'm going to have facial hair in a year because some of those kids did.
Yeah.
It's just going to be a whole different situation then. Joke's on me. I never finished that school. I moved.
But I remember very specifically, when I was in 6th grade, I got into the school play, and almost all of the other cast members were in 7th and 8th grade. And I legitimately looked at them as like the oldest people ever. Like they looked like full-fledged adults to me.
And the teachers were just ancient, elderly men and women.
Well, that was the other weird thing. I couldn't tell. Like there was this really weird dissonance between the two. And now I look at like high schoolers and middle schoolers, and I'm like, y'all okay?
Y'all the same.
Y'all the same. It's very weird.
6th grade, 6 years old, 13, 11, child. Just one age.
Just one age,
and it's child.
And you know what? And they're all getting murdered in this manuscript. So we brought it full circle.
It's true. They're all equal. They're all going to die.
Yep.
It's a miracle anyone lives to be an adult.
Oh my God. Nick casually walked to the house unseen as I continued my conversation with Paige. Damn.
Why is he unseen?
Probably
because
because
stalking like towards it.
No, I think he just moves off while I'm talking, and like Nick's probably gonna.
You're talking.
Because Jen.
Okay. I thought you were identifying with her suddenly, and I was like, oh God, I have to leave.
I am Jen Woods. I'm gonna start poisoning you slowly but surely because I want to take care of you.
It's called Munchausen syndrome, isn't it?
By proxy. No, that's if you want attention.
And what is it?
Munchausen syndrome?
No. Then what is the syndrome for poisoning someone to? I guess that's just.
I think it's just you're a psychopath.
No, there's a thing for it. Anyway, move on.
Malignant hero syndrome.
Did you just make that up?
No, it's from an episode of SVU, but it was.
How do you know they didn't just make it up?
Because you know what? Anything that George Wong says, I believe. But it's like when a firefighter starts a fire to put it out, or a doctor hurts a patient to save them. Again, it's still for attention. It's very similar to Munchausen's by proxy, but it's the closest.
I guess they could argue that I'm starting fires so that the fire station stays in business.
Well, I don't think the fire stations stay open per their fire quota putting out. I hope that's not how that works.
For some reason, that's how the police work.
Not Jen Woods, because she's hooking them and booking them all damn day. Okay. Damn, did someone chop him up? I asked. No, the perp shoved the little guy in there and staple gunned the horse shut, Paige answered. Okay, Nick, you're so more of a people person, so do you want to talk to the witness and I'll hit the horse? Nick? I asked, spinning around.
Oh, he walked away silently so you could do this bit where
Yeah.
Jen is confused for some reason.
I looked, but my partner was no longer beside me. Jen, his voice blared. Nick, where are you? I asked as Paige and I looked around.
Is it dark?
No, he's up at the house. He's far away. Over here, he boomed in reply.
Wow. Just not shouted, blared and boomed.
Blared and boomed. We looked in the direction of the voice, which was at the house, particularly on the roof, and it was topped off with Nick standing on it. Hey, guys.
What a roundabout way of saying, Nick's on the roof.
I know. Hey, guys, watch this, he cheered when we finally got to the house.
He is so happy. Kid got shoved into a horse. Woo, jackknife. There's no pool, Nick.
Get down from there. Oh, get down before you hurt yourself, Paige ordered. Nah, Nick smiled and plunged off the roof and onto the ground behind the house.
He jumped into a pool. He's absolutely having the time of his life at this crime scene.
Jesus Christ. Nick, Paige and I screamed. Why are they at all concerned?
This is not like, can you imagine like the witness is going, why is this guy having so much fun next to our dead son?
We're assuming they've contacted next of kin, which they never do.
They're at his house. They have to be there.
You know
they
what?
don't clear the crime scenes.
They never clear their crime scenes.
Two things they don't ever do: contact the parents or clear crime scenes. So if someone gets murdered at their own house, their family's just gonna be there, sitting there while everyone's like, yeah, See this dumb, stupid face? Yeah, half it was gone. It was hilarious.
He was too bad he was horsing around. Elbow, elbow, elbow. All right.
Elbowing the grandmother of
Yeah.
this kid.
We ran around the back of the house. Hey guys, what's up? Nick asked, lying on a nice pile of mattresses. Just in the backyard of this house.
Ooh, now we're getting rednecky.
Nick, what the hell? I asked, kicking him in the shoulder.
Old and gross too, and he's just like, yeah, people have done things on these. I don't care.
Ew. Nick, what the hell? I asked, kicking him in the shoulder, then helping him up. How else would I have gotten you guys up here so fast?
Ask. Say, hey, there's pertinent information to the crime scene.
We're at a crime scene. Besides, I would never take a swan dive. My face is just too hot to mess up, Nick snickered.
He said too hot, not like too beautiful or too pretty. He's
Nope,
like being
just too hot to
legitimately
mess up.
serious about like, this is the money maker, not the crime scene analytic skills. This.
Goddamn right.
I'm a model.
Uh-huh. You can be the biggest ass sometimes. You know that? I jeered. This is Nick's house. His older brother let me in.
Wait, there's two Nicks?
Hold on. Let me see.
Is the kid's name Nick?
I can't remember.
Neither can I. You read it.
I know. I wrote it. Yeah, it's Nick Mitchelson. You know, just to be confusing.
Which Nick's dead? I don't care. That's Jen every day.
Nick is dead inside. Okay.
Everyone's dead here.
This is Nick's house. His older brother let me in. Nick informed as we
No,
walked.
you're the police. This is the crime scene. You should just be able to walk in. And he should not be.
They didn't clear the crime scene.
Well,
All right.
technically, the barn with the crime scene and the house is just an accessory.
Nick informed as we walked to the front of the house. When we reached the front of the house, I knocked on the door. A middle-aged man with a balding head, a fluffy brown mustache, and thick round glasses answered the door.
Oh, please tell me that they're about to find out their kid's dead.
Mr. Mitchelson, this is my partner from the crime lab, Jen Woods, and this is the chief of police, Thomas Page. Can we come in and talk to your son?
I keep forgetting that Page is a man in the chief because he has three. They have like three assistants who sometimes show up and sometimes don't. So I keep thinking that Page is one of them. What's going on? Stop reading ahead.
Okay. Oh, okay. I'm not canceled. It's fine. I just really wanted to make sure.
If you have to be this cautious, maybe we shouldn't read these anymore.
But they're too bad not to read. Okay. Can we come in and talk to your son? Nick asked politely.
Not you.
My one and only son is dead. But you can talk to my daughter, Sam, he called.
Didn't he just say his older brother let him in?
I think Nick misunderstood this tomboy for a boy.
Oh, the joke is that a girl named Sam let him in. And he just assumed Sam was a boy?
Yeah, so
she's not.
a girl who definitely looked like a boy came to the door with short blonde hair, a big baggy football jersey, baggy basketball shorts, and sneakers. Hey, Nick, who are your pals? Did you jump off the roof yet? Fun, isn't it? The boyish figure greeted. Samantha, this is Jen Woods from the crime lab. And
I am in no way affected by my brother's death.
Neither of them seem to be. This is the dad introducing them, by the way.
Oh, the dad was like, my only son is dead. No one can console me.
And
also, I've been described as a nerd for some reason.
And the chief of police, Thomas Page, Mitchelson introduced. Hi, Page and I repeated. Samantha, Nick whispered to me. So what do you need? She asked. Samantha, Nick began, but Samantha interrupted. Call me Sam. Samantha's just too long, Sam ordered. Sam, when was the last time you saw your brother? Nick finished his question. Thursday. I watched him totally crush the other team at the football game, then drove him and his girlfriend out to the movies and for ice cream. He spent the night over there, she replied.
Whoa.
What?
13-year-old spending his night
Oh, yeah,
at his girlfriend's house?
That's scandalous. Also, 13-year-old crushing people at football?
They're playing flag football. Come on. I don't know.
Oh,
I never.
Wasn't he a bit young to have spent the night at a girl's house? Kids these days get away with everything, Paige stated.
Paige, you sound like an old. Paige, you sound like a boomer.
And you weren't the least bit worried that something had happened to him? And he was gone for 2 days, Nick asked. He wasn't like the other teenage boys. He didn't give in to peer pressure or be a jerk. He was a gentleman around the ladies, and whenever Nick spent a night over at Megan's house, he went to Curtis's right after, Samantha disputed. Megan and Curtis, Nick asked. Megan O'Donnell and Curtis Partridge. The person you should be looking into is Shane Morrison, Samantha reported. I looked over the father's shoulder. I looked over the father's shoulder and saw a hunting knife on the wall with fresh blood on the blade, and it wasn't hunting season.
Hunting season happens all the time. It just depends on when you're hunting.
Here's my other thing. How bad of a murderer do you have to be to just not only not clean off the murder weapon, but then, like, mount it?
I remembered to put it away. And by away, I mean on my wall.
No one's going to suspect a thing. Mr. Mitchelson, would you and your daughter please step outside? I asked, snapping on a latex glove. Don't you need a warrant? Mr. Mitchelson asked curiously. No, I have probable cause. That knife has fresh blood on it, and it isn't hunting season. Your son's blood was found on the side of the horse. He had a nice gash in his head, and I'm going to swab the knife and test it for your son's blood, I smirked. I've got so many questions, because Jen...
I'm accusing you of murder basically to your face, so fuck you, get out.
Jen never saw the body. Also, like...
No one said that there was a cut on the man,
the
boy.
Because here's the thing. We haven't seen the body yet, A.
Didn't they take it away already?
No. We had... Literally, Jen walked up to Paige and was like, why are we dealing with a horse? And he's like, oh, no, they found a kid inside of the horse.
Yeah, but didn't they say they took the body away? Didn't Paige say that?
They took because the animal control unit came to take the horse away. When they picked the horse up, it was too heavy. So they cut the horse open and a child fell out.
And then they took the child?
I don't know, but I just... There are plenty of other reasons why there would be blood on the knife. I don't know, slicing open the horse for starters. No one's going to cut the kid's head open and leave a gash.
No, that's how he died. He was stabbed in the brain.
Oh, he was stabbed right on in the brain, in the noggin. Plus, you need a pretty big knife to cut open a horse. Thank you, Nick. Thank you. Nick finished. This is outrageous.
Sam goes, oh, no, you don't. Trust me, I did it with this. Oops.
Plus, this is outrageous. You think I could kill my son? Mitchelson yelped. People do stupid things. Go to Vegas, get married, kill their family. You know, the usual loony stuff people do, Nick answered. I don't know. It's okay. Everything's fine.
So Nick doesn't like marriage and he doesn't like Vegas. What does he like?
His black Viper.
And jumping off roofs, apparently.
Jumping off roofs. Paige escorted the steamed Mr. Mitchelson and Sam outside. I walked in and Nick stayed behind. I took down the mounted knife and took out my phenolphthalein and a swab stick. I sprayed the knife and ran it over with my swab stick. It was positive for blood. I stuck my swab back in its little box. Nick, come here, I called, putting the knife into an evidence bag. Positive for blood. We have enough for a warrant.
That red stuff I saw in the knife? Definitely blood, not juice.
We have enough for a warrant, and when this blood tests positive for Nick's blood, we'll have enough for an arrest, I promised, and we walked out of the house.
Why do you keep assuming things like it's going to be that blood? Because where else would it be? It's not hunting season. You don't have to hunt.
Mr. Mitchelson, Sam, you're going to have to come with us.
He could be a poacher. Jen?
He could be a different kind of criminal.
What? No, people are murderers.
Not only murderers.
That's it. What if you rob a bank? You definitely have to kill someone when you rob the bank. Otherwise, I don't care.
Tax evasion? You definitely murdered someone in order to do that.
Yeah. Where are you hiding your taxes? In bodies.
I mean, how else are you?
I don't super understand what tax evasion is. Jen,
but it's okay.
Jen, do you not pay your taxes? We're cops. We don't have to pay taxes. Oh boy.
There's so much to unpack there. Mr. Mitchelson, Sam, you're going to have to come with us, Paige announced and showed them to a squad car, and they drove off. Who could have the guts to open...
Read it like it's written.
Who could have the guts to open out a horse and stick a kid inside? Nick asked.
I mean, that tracks.
Bing pong. My cell phone rang. I've got to set this thing on vibrate, I exclaimed. Woods, I answered.
Why is that a joke?
I don't know, because it's been on vibrate for the rest of the book. The entire time, her phone has not rang once. It's only ever bzz, bzz. So, Jen, I have some bad news and some very bad news. The bad news is...
Who's talking?
Whoever called her on the phone. Jen, I have some bad news and some very bad news. The bad news is the horse was alive but tranquilized when the perp put Nick into the horse.
Why make horse suffer like that?
Here's my question. How?
I mean, you just shoot a horse with a tranq dart.
I know, but the second you open that horse up, it's dead. So that's my problem with this whole implication.
So why? Why would you bother?
Why would you bother telling me that, oh, the horse was alive when the kid was put inside? I'm like, no. The horse was dead when you sliced it open to put the kid inside. That's what killed it. Yeah. Its heart was not still beating when the kid was inserted into the body. That's not what...
It was bleeding out. It was actively dying.
It was doing death throes.
It wasn't already dead.
It was, yeah. The very bad news is I found contusions and bruising on the wrists and ankles of Nick. He had been bound and alive inside the horse. So he was alive inside the horse, who was also alive.
And he was stabbed in the head?
And he was, that's my other fucking problem. He wasn't stabbed in the head.
He's got a gash. Ooh, could have been a slice. Could have been like a...
Are you solving the crime right now?
He was in the horse before it was cut open, and the gash...
Was someone trying to cut him out?
Yes.
All of the Brothers Grimm?
Yes.
Oh, God.
He got cut in the head.
Oh, no.
Fuck.
Sorry.
I thought I was onto something.
No, yours is better, though. He tried to escape, and he hit his head so hard it turned his brain to jelly.
Melch, is that your medical... Like, is that the medical term? Wait, let me do that again. Melch, is that the medical term for it? Yeah, brain to jelly. It's in all the books.
All of them.
You hit it hard enough, brain goes gel.
Soup's gel. Melch finished.
It was Melch.
It was Melch.
I made a deduction. I'm better than they are.
Thanks, Em, I think, I replied grimly and hung up. What's up?
It's not my name, that's just a letter.
Thanks, bye. What's up, Nick asked. The poor kid was alive when he was put into the horse. He hit his head against the rib cage trying to escape, giving him such a concussion his brain turned to jelly, I replied, with a straight face.
I was going to say, Nick goes, like, blinks at her. You can say that, like, with a serious expression on your face. His brain turned to jelly. He has a concussion, maybe, and then he passed out and suffocated because he's in a horse.
Jen, I brought a PB&J for lunch that I now can't eat. I hope you're happy. My Skippy and my Smuckers won't be the same. Just when I thought I could get over... What a delayed... You know what? I did that thinking, I was like, this bit's going to make him laugh. And then you just didn't. And I was like, oh, okay. Better continue.
I'm laughing at the way you just decided to abandon it and just you turned back and started reading again.
Oh.
It wasn't funny.
Thanks. Love you. Just when I thought I could get over maggots eating off faces and how twisted the criminal mind can be, someone stuffs a 13-year-old into a horse, Nick muttered. He uttered a few more things that would make Dane Cook shriek, so I left it out. First off, let me go through the itemized questions I have for this. First off,
I can't answer any of them. I'm usually the one asking you questions.
I know. First off, I barely know who Dane Cook is now.
Comedian.
I know that, and that's it. I also know he was in Good Luck Chuck, and every time he would have sex with a girl, she would fall in love, and he couldn't have sex with Jessica Alba because he loved her, and he didn't want to ruin that. That's it. That's my base understanding of who Dane Cook is. A. B.
The majority of that was you just proving you understand what Good Luck Chuck is about.
B. Who did she leave it out for?
This is her personal journal.
Yeah.
So for her own innocent eyes.
Okay. For her own innocent eyeballs. Okay.
Also, she's been writing a lot of this like she expects someone to read it.
I know. It's a suicide note.
Okay, Mom. I know you read this after I go to sleep.
I'll run this knife over to the lab. You want to...
I don't know if Dane Cook was known for swearing. Like
Yes.
he did stadiums of like teenagers.
I'm gonna do underneath the first point that I made of I barely know who Dane Cook is now. To that.
Would have been George Carlin. Would have been a funny one. He has a whole song about swearing.
Yep. Got nothing.
All right.
Okay.
It was the only comedian 12-year-old Lexx knew.
And I knew.
And
you know
used
what?
it.
I might have saw him on MySpace at some point and was like,
how would you have
he's
seen
edgy.
him on MySpace?
He's edgy. I mean, like, people would, like, you know, when you have, like, build a profile, you can, like, put funny pictures up there and stuff.
Oh, okay. I thought you saw, like, a clip, but it was like, you could do clips in MySpace?
Oh, I couldn't tell you. All right.
Me neither. I used it for 2 weeks, and then Facebook became the thing, and I was like, well, this one seems better. And I
Well,
moved.
this one I understand more. I'll run this knife over to the lab. You want to do the interrogation? Nick asked, getting his cool back. Sure. Diner at 1 o'clock? I asked, getting into my car. You know it, he replied, and we drove off. I like how...
Oh, we're abandoning the book.
I'm cold. I'm putting this blanket on. I like how I suddenly made the diner a thing. Again, very much a la Bones, but I only made it a thing and all that glitters is gold. I don't think they went to the diner at all in Abracadabra. They didn't go in Ironic Sensitivity or Game Over.
No, they were too busy in those two.
They were all over the place. All right. Sure, diner, 1 o'clock, I asked, getting into my car. You know it, he replied, and we drove off. Mr. Mitchelson sat in front of me in the cold steel interrogation room. Mr. Mitchelson, who did your son hang out with? I asked. Sam told you, Curtis Partridge and his girlfriend, he replied. I just wanted to confirm, I retorted. He hung out with his sister a lot, too. Ever since their mom left, they've been really close, Mr. Mitchelson.
Oh, it's incest.
I don't think so.
You're right. I don't think 12-year-old Lexx knew what that was.
I can't say that confidently, though.
I don't think she knew that was a thing. That could be done consensually. It was probably all just SVU, like fathers going after their...
That is a fair assessment.
I'm basing this just on the fact that you seem to plagiarize everything that your little eyeballs could
could
absorb.
consume. You're goddamn right. But no, there was an episode of CSI in which a brother and sister were banging and, like, you know, that was like a thing. And they were the murderers. They were bad. Mr. Mitchelson stuttered. What do you do for a living? I asked. I'm a butcher down at Ham and Hams on 5th, Mr. Mitchelson said.
Ham and Hams?
Ham and Hams.
Is your name Ham? No, you know my name.
It's Mitchelson. So you're good at cutting stuff, I implied. Yes, he continued.
No, I make the sausage. I grind things. And then immediately her argument is, damn it, it can't be you.
Did you cut open that horse and stuff your kid inside? I asked.
If I say yes, will you let me go?
I want an attorney. I don't need to be harassed by you, Mitchelson sneered. You're not under arrest.
Why isn't anybody, like, sad when people die? It's always like, it's not me, you can't prove it. Not, please stop harassing me, my child's dead.
It gets better. Are you ready?
No, I'm not.
You're not under arrest. We're just talking. You can leave whenever you want, I comforted. Fine, he said. After that, he got up and left. I changed suspects. Now Samantha sat in place of her father. Sam, your father says that you and Nick were really close. You two hung out a lot. Talked. Did he tell you about any problems that he may have had lately? I asked.
He said he had this beef with a horse. And he said, and I quote, I'm going to get that horse. I'm going to crawl up inside him, dig around in his guts, and that'll show him.
It's true.
Do you think that means anything?
Wait. Do you think? It's true. Nick and I were tight. We both hung out with his friends, Curtis and Megan. But there was that one kid, Shane, remember? He had it out for Nick. I came out one night and saw them talking, and then Shane went at him with a knife.
And Shane
went at him with a knife. My father's knife, which Nick borrowed, and cut him on the leg, she continued.
So he stole a knife and cut a kid with it? Shane character?
So Nick stole his dad's knife, somehow lost it in this scuffle. Then Shane cut Nick with the knife, and then Nick put the knife back without cleaning it off.
And his father didn't notice?
Nope. He's too busy at Ham and Hams down on 5th.
Just butching.
Yep. Grinding.
No, that's not canon. That's my.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. So you witnessed them fighting, I asked in confirmation. Yeah, and Shane is pretty strong. He could probably have put him into that horse, she continued.
Oh my God. Does he also take steroids and bone strengtheners? It's an affliction for the teens.
God. She continued. Thanks. One more thing. The file says you're a vet. Is that true? How old is she?
I thought she was 16.
We never got Sam's age. Marissa Court, the witness who we'll never see again, was 16.
That girl needs some therapy too.
I know.
She has to be at least 20?
You know what? Nothing would have suggested that up until now. Yeah, I have to be sure that the horses are okay. I do the tranks, relaxants, take care of them when they're sick. You know, the vet stuff, she replied.
Oh. I thought you meant vet as in army vet.
Oh.
I was like, so she's 18, 20. I mean, she's obviously
But
out
a veterinarian is even more confusing.
She's older then.
I know, that's my problem. I'm like, that wouldn't have been suggested until now.
Is Sam his mother?
No, Mom left.
To become Sam?
Oh my God. I thanked her and she left. Paige was forced to let them out of custody. Oh boy.
That's just a...
Don't. It's good. It's a spoiler. I looked at my watch. 12:45. I had 15 minutes. Maybe I could get in some crime scene photo action, I thought.
You didn't do that when you went there the first time?
That's not the biggest problem I
Things
have.
change really quickly. That's the first thing you should do.
I know, but here's the other thing. We know you're thinking this, Jen. This is from your perspective. This is all in your head. You don't have to tell me that you thought this. I know you did. It's not in quotes. I walked into the lounge and put the case file down onto
I just
a
want
table.
you to know that I was thinking it while I did it.
Oh, and by the way, she's reviewing crime scene photos because apparently she didn't take them.
That's all she fucking did 2 episodes ago.
I know. I could be wrong. She may have. But according to the timeline...
We didn't see it happen.
I know, because she went from getting to the crime scene, asking about the horse, to going to the house where Nick jumps off the roof, to finding the knife, and then they left. So I don't know when she's never even seen the crime scene. I walked into the lounge and put the case file down onto a table. I turned around and poured myself a cup of coffee. I sat back down at the table and gazed at the grueling photos. Nick had no apparent cuts on him. Was Sam telling the truth? Come on, it's a murder investigation.
He's fucking covered in horse viscera. How the fuck do you know?
Come on, it's a murder investigation. Evidently there's going to be some lying involved. I looked a little closer and saw a Band-Aid on his right leg. Great, now she could be telling the truth. Or something else.
Nothing changed about the photo. That just means she squinted a little bit, like moved closer.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I see a Band-Aid in this one. And in this one. And you know what? In most of them. I just wasn't paying attention.
He was covered in horse viscera, though. I rubbed my head.
It's better than saying horse goop.
With that brain jelly. I rubbed my head. I looked at my notepad. Curtis Partridge, friend. Megan O'Donnell, girlfriend.
Why aren't you talking to these 2 people?
She's not. She's reviewing.
No, why
her
isn't
notes.
she going to talk to these 2 other people? She keeps going, it's the fucking dad. He keeps mentioning these other people. So does Sam. It's not them. It's one of those 2.
Yep. And finally, the badass Shane Morrison, enemy. I closed my pad and looked at the photos again. Oh my God, I sighed. What kind of sick son of a bitch stuffs a live, crying kid inside a horse and leaves him there to suffer?
You don't know he was crying. Maybe he was into it.
And maybe he was super unconscious, because there's no way a moving child is going to willingly go into a horse.
I don't think they understand the difference between dead and unconscious. It's either you're awake or you're dead. What happens every night? I die for a little bit and then I get back up, like everybody else does.
Right? Do you need to talk? Why not kill him before putting him in there? I mean, did the perp want to hear him scream, or did they just think he was already dead? I asked myself. I looked back at my watch. 12:49. Wow.
Maybe it was a dare. I dare you to escape this horse in 1 hour. Go.
That would be cool. I looked back at my watch. 12:49. Wow, a whopping 4 minutes had passed. I picked up my case file and notepad and slipped on my long leather jacket. I walked out of the lab.
Wow, she's fucking cool.
So cool. I walked out of the lab and into my car and drove to the diner. Oh, Jesus God.
Wait, she was walking to the diner?
No, she...
Walked
no.
to her car to go to the diner.
Yeah, I walked out of the lab and into my car and drove to the diner.
Okay. I missed everything between walked and diner.
Gotcha. Well, it's real important that she drove to the diner.
Okay. Does she run into a horse?
No.
Does the horse fall on her?
No.
Are there
The horse
more-
is in the back seat.
Oh, that's a joke because we determined that there is no back seat.
Yes.
I'm explaining in case people haven't listened to all of them.
Gotcha. I pulled in and Nick's car was in the back lot, and Nick was waiting for me by the outside entrance. "I'll be in a sec," I yelled from the car, and Nick nodded and walked back in. I got out of the car and walked up to the sidewalk. I clicked the lock button on my key ring, and only one word could possibly describe what happened next. Boom. It's in giant, like, 36,
Let me see it again.
in like giant 36-point bolded font.
Boom.
All caps, exclamation point.
Dynamic literature.
The blast blew me back about 8 feet and plunged me into the nearby wall.
8 feet just smacked into a wall? You are unconscious.
She should be dead.
Yeah, the blast wave probably would have
Turned her brain to jelly.
brain to jelly. Your bones are dislocated. Your organs are not where they're supposed to be anymore.
She also just fell off of a balcony in the last case and broke most of her bones.
We also don't know how long ago that was because time means nothing. That could have been years.
This could be Groundhog Day. This could just be the same day over and over again, just a different case.
We have to solve every crime that happens in Chicago all in one day.
Forever. Nick rushed out of the screaming restaurant. I rubbed my
The
head.
screaming restaurant.
Yes. The building was screaming. I just flew into it. It was very confused. I rubbed my head. Everything was happening so fast. I felt like I was watching an Arnold Schwarzenegger movie and fast forward.
Like Kindergarten Cop?
Yes. Actually, more like Junior. Anyway.
Also,
Hold on. Wait. Okay, so I'm going to read what the sentence actually says because it's very funny. And actually, no. I'm going to read what this sentence is supposed to say, and then I'm going to read what it actually says because it's really fucking funny.
okay.
Just before my car door turned me into a Jen pancake, Nick pulled me out of the way. But it really says, just before me car door turned me into a Jen pancake, Nick pulled me out of the way.
Is the only difference instead of my, it says me?
Yes. And I immediately read it in that voice, like when I was like looking at it. Just before me car door.
Is it supposed to be a pirate or an Irishman?
Both.
An Irish pirate?
An Irish pirate.
It's too powerful.
Pirish.
Okay.
Jen, can you
Wait,
hear me?
why did the car door...
The car exploded.
Yeah.
It took a while for it to come
I'm
back
gonna,
down.
I'm going to say, the car explodes, it goes up in flames, she gets knocked into it. Nick then runs out and goes, oh my God, and then the
Yeah.
door comes out
It's
of
falling.
nothing?
No, it's falling from the sky. It blew up, and it's just now getting back to where Jen is.
Is that really what's supposed to be happening here?
Yes.
Do you remember this from when you were writing it? Or you just...
This is how I am reading it right now.
Jesus. Okay. That's not how physics works.
That's fine. Ow, my car blew up. I mumbled. I stood up and wobbled back and forth.
That's great, Jen. Oh, we're going to have to take this case over the FBI because that was an act of terror.
I didn't finish. I fell out of consciousness. Oh, God. So
Stop reading ahead.
I know, but this is something that actually just popped into my brain. She just lost her cherry red Dodge Viper.
She'll get it back.
How is she going to drive up to crime scenes all cool?
On a bike.
That was very funny. Nick picked me up and put me into his car. Paige, it's Nick. Someone just tried to kill Jen again. Her car got blown up.
Oh, man.
And it was someone not from the precinct this time. Her car got blown up. She's out cold, but she's fine.
Those are two opposite sentences, son.
She got thrown into a wall 8 feet. But she's
Her
fine.
back is shattered.
All of her bones are in places where they shouldn't be. Anyway, get over here as soon as possible. I'm going to take Jen home. See you in an hour. Over and out. Nick
The
barked
hospital?
Nope, she's fine. She's fine. Nick barked into his phone. He drove to his house and brought me into his living room. So she's not... Okay, I don't get it, but whatever.
Wait, did he take her to her house?
That's what I was also confused about. He laid me down onto the couch and put a blanket over me and a pillow under my head. He looked at me and wondered, "You are the unluckiest..."
How do you know any of this? You're goddamn unconscious. This is from your point of view.
I know. "You and I are the unluckiest people on the planet," he smiled and waited for me to awaken.
You just said you were going to see him in an hour. You have to leave, Nick.
About an hour later. So Jen has been unconscious for an hour.
She's dead.
She's dead.
Her brain no longer functions at a higher level. If she's lucky, she will have the mind of a child.
And that's not good because they die in this city.
Oh.
About an hour later, Nick had fallen asleep waiting and I woke up. "Hey," I groaned. Nick woke with a start.
Did you forget that he said he was going to go see Tom in an hour?
Yeah. "Oh, yeah, I'm really sorry," he greeted. "What happened? Last thing I remember was locking my car." "Why are you sorry?" I sighed. I sat up and it felt like a house had just been dropped on my head. "Bomb squad recovered components of a clock bomb under your engine. When you locked the car, the time accelerator went off and it detonated," he replied. He handed me a bottle of water and 2 Advil. Just 2. I'd been thrown into a wall.
I'll be good. This is all I needed.
And unconscious for an hour.
Yeah, you should really take a look at the fact that you're bleeding from your ears, nose, and eyes. Also, you're missing like 3 teeth.
Also, can we just admire the fact that this kid hit his head on the inside of a rib cage and his brain turned to jelly? But Jen gets launched into a brick wall. Anyway. I popped in the little blue pills into my mouth and swiftly finished off the water.
Is that little blue?
Yeah. All right, time to go find Nick's killer and my attempted murderer. Plus, I think it's safe to say that they're the same person, I said and stood up.
Why?
Jen, I don't know if you realize this, but you've made quite a list of enemies.
Every time there's a crime, you accuse 13 people that they are the murderer. You ruin some of their lives in the process by this accusation. And then when we finally do catch the real person, you just kind of flip everyone off and move on.
Yeah, because everyone's bad always. Jen, maybe you should sit back down. Or what I should be doing is taking you to the hospital.
Yeah.
I feel like you missed your shot there, sir.
I'm going to be honest. I forgot those existed.
Nick insisted. I simply glared at my guardian angel. Or not. At least let Melch take a look at you. I mean, he's somewhat of a doctor, he continued. I'm fine, I replied. So I guess this means I'm your new chauffeur. I'll have to drive you around now, he asked, locking the door behind him. No, I'll have my car back by tomorrow, I replied. Why are you two so confident in that?
What the fuck does that mean?
I don't know.
Is she?
Oh, no, here we go. Oh, Jesus. I was right. It is in this one we figure out how they got the vipers. How? Are you going to rob a bank? He questioned. We hauled into the car. No, I simply said. We buckled up and we left Nick's house and onto the lab. My dad's a billionaire. We're really great buddies.
We're just buddies, me and my dad. You know.
We're all that we have. That's why I don't tell anyone about him. I want to keep him safe, I replied. Wow, it's true. You learn something new every day, Nick sighed. Yep, to the lab. So does this actually imply that Nick got a Viper on his own?
Yeah. He saw Jen have one and went, that girl's the coolest person in the world. He bought one, and then he decided to join the police department, despite having no training. And they, for some reason, said, sure.
Sure. You guys with Vipers can join us. That's fine. You guys got cool fucking cars. You should definitely be able to carry a gun.
Actually, technically, people of your station shouldn't have guns, but we're going to make an exception.
Because you guys
Donaldson, give him your gun. What? Do it. Am I going to get that back? No, Donaldson. You're not.
Yep, to the lab, I announced. We drove into the lab's parking lot. Hey, Melch, what do you have for us this fine murder victim? I asked as Nick and I entered the morgue. I believe you meant fine August day, but tomato, Nick laughed. This is a child. There is a dead child here.
A murder a day means this is Chicago.
This is
No,
Chicago.
sorry. A murder a day means this is our life because
We're in hell.
this is our life. We solve one murder a day.
Jen, are you okay? I heard about your car. Is Daddy Warbucks going to get you a different one? No offense, but I was getting sick of the bright cherry red, Melch laughed. I was almost murdered.
I almost died. My car is gone. Someone wants to kill me. That's not a normal situation to be in.
Hey, how do you know about her dad? Nick exclaimed.
I suck his dick every week and he pays me.
Oh my god. Yeah, anyway, your Vic did have one cut on his leg, but it was scarred
You're not
over.
answering him?
Nope. It was at least a week old. The cut went so deep it slit the femur a bit.
He didn't go to the hospital?
It was covered up by a Band-Aid?
He needed stitches.
Femoral artery, bro.
We just glued it back together. Some Elmer's and a Band-Aid.
Melch beamed. The weird thing is that the cut on the leg is at a weird angle. Like the Vic was cut shielding someone or fighting someone off, Melch continued.
Oh my God. Sam was telling the truth. And those two things are not the same. Anyone getting cut anywhere is not a weird angle, Melch.
Cuts anywhere are at a weird angle because you shouldn't be getting cut. Sam said that one of his peers was trying to off him with his dad's knife. Could he be a possible suspect? I asked. If the peer was 5'7", then yes. But the cut was lean. It was accidental and done with empathy and hesitation. But you just said it was sustained while fighting someone, Melch.
Also, you can't tell those things just from looking at a wound. Are you some kind of empath? Is that your secret?
Oh my god! Are you ready for this?
No, I'm never ready for it. I never understand why you ask that. It's always nonsense.
It was accidental and done with empathy and hesitation. And you know who gets empathetic? Women, Melch implied.
Oh.
Hey, I take offense to that, I yelled.
Yeah, we're not empathetic. You're empathetic, you fucking bitch.
Jen, sometimes you can get a tad emotional when it comes to cases to this extent, Nick snickered. I slapped him in the arm. Hey, it's the truth, he grinned. Thanks, Melch, I said.
Emotions are stupid and only women have them. And then they both just headbutt each other.
Noggin. Dude. Thanks, Melch, I said, and we left. Sarah ran into us in the hallway. We didn't get cause of death, by the way. He did earlier. We got cause of death earlier.
Yeah. Jelly brain.
Jelly brain. Nick, I got
This
that.
is the third case of jelly brain this week, kids. I don't know why I'm referring to you as kids. Because, Tom, I don't know.
I know you only refer to Paige as Tom. Because his name's Thomas Paige.
I know. Because last name, Paige, is confusing as fuck. It's a woman's name.
Now who's being the misogynist? It's me. It's always me. Nick, I got that blood done, and I think you two are going to love the news. The blood on the knife matches Nick Mitchelson and the horse.
Well, that just tracks. We assume that.
Yeah. The blood overlapped each other, meaning that the blood was developed on the knife about an hour apart. The blood itself is only 39 hours old, Sarah began. Cool, Nick said. Wait, you haven't even heard the juicy part yet. While running it through the system,
No, you don't understand. I don't understand what you're saying. I'm just saying cool to be polite.
Got cool.
I understand very little about this job, but sometimes I get to hug Jen And ooh boy, is that the best part of my day.
Wait, you haven't even heard the juicy part yet. While running it through the system, I got a match to a Rebecca Mitchelson. She's been missing for 6 years. Huh? Do I freaking rock or what? Sarah
Oh my
exclaimed.
God, is the wife the horse?
The wife is the horse. Oh God.
Is this a Tusk situation where he actually just built a woman into a horse?
Sarah exclaimed, giving us the paper, then disappeared back into her office. Well, I think the Mitchelsons have some more lying to do, I said. Paige probably has our warrant. Let's head over there, Nick suggested. Bzzz. My phone buzzed. Hold that thought. The girlfriend and the best friend are in the interrogation room with their parents, I informed. We walked down the hallway and past toxicology, past the fume room, but we didn't get past ballistics. David rushed out of his lab holding a piece of paper. Wow, a lot of trees are used here. Guys, I found something. The bomb that was placed in your car at 11:39 a.m. and set to go off 2 hours after attachment.
Sure. Why not, you fucking wizard?
Fucking wizard.
The only way you would know that is through magic. There's no way that would. It was blown into pieces.
Fucking wizard. I also found a few partials on the assembly box.
No, you didn't. They were blown to pieces.
I'm running them now. He smiled and off he went. Okay, that was weird, I whispered. Why is that weird? Someone's bringing you information, you asshole. Anyway, David's dad...
Why does he know his place? He looked me in the eyes. That's weird, right?
Oh, okay, that was weird, I whispered. David's dad was an aerospace engineer. David wanted to go into that business, but when his dad was shot, he turned to ballistics. Nick filled me in.
Oh, we're getting random backstory about one of the thousands of random people that helps them now in the middle of this?
Yep. Oh, that explains some. I smiled. And we went out to interrogation.
And we'll never speak to him again.
Hey, Megan, Curtis, I'm Jen Woods, and this is my partner, Nick Cregan. We're so sorry to hear about your friend, so we'll make this quick. His sister, Sam, said
Did you kill him? Did you kill him? And they just start screaming and shaking them.
His sister, Sam, said he was very popular. Is that true? I introduced. No.
Introduced? Fuck that verb in that sentence.
No, we're his only friends, poor kid. No one would be friends with him because of his sister, Curtis answered. His sister? I thought you guys hung out with her too, Nick replied. No way. She, stalked Nick. She wouldn't let anyone be his friend. She wouldn't even let us go out Thursday. I hadn't seen him since the game, Megan told, blowing holes in Sam's story. Thanks, you can go, Nick offered. And they left.
I believe him. Really? Yeah. Why, is that weird? Yeah, you never believe anyone.
Awkward, I said. Yeah, let's go get our family of liars in for a chat, Nick suggested.
Oh my God. It's always the father.
It's always the weird family.
I mean, we should have seen it coming. They didn't care that he was dead.
I know.
At all.
We pulled into the Mitchelson driveway. Yellow crime scene tape was wrapped around the perimeter of the area. An ambulance, 4 squad cars, and Paige greeted us upon our arrival. Paige, what's up? I hollered from the car.
We never left. It's been 3 hours.
I got out and walked toward all the commotion and turned around. Aren't you coming? I asked Nick, who was glued into his seat. And get my baby blown up? I don't think so, he smirked. I walked forward and ducked under the crime scene tape.
I'll buy you another one, too. He's a billionaire with a B.
I don't know why he's a billionaire. He just is.
Do you think that was hyperbole, or do you think that you meant billionaire?
Oh, I definitely meant billionaire. I wanted to have a reason as to why he could just buy her cars like this.
I'm going to blow one up every week now. Yeah.
Paige, what's up? I asked. Bones were found. Horse and human. Paige replied.
Are you implying he shoved his wife into a horse 6 years ago?
Jen, meet forensic anthropologist Megan Shar. Megan Shar, this is, Paige introduced, but was cut off from our squealing. Jen! Megan screamed. Meg! I squealed back. Oh my God, Megan began. Oh my God, I repeated. Oh my God, can someone tell me what's going on? Paige mocked and mimicked our squealo-rama.
I have no response to that. You obviously wanted to be those teenagers. You've turned them into teenagers, and you wanted to be like them, and they're terrible.
We also have 2 Megans in this case and 2 Nicks in this case, and it's very confusing.
Who's the second Megan?
The Megan was the girlfriend that they just interrogated.
Oh, yeah.
Megan and I went to school together. We were best friends until she moved out to the Jeffersonian, I informed.
And then, people don't talk to each other once they move.
Nope, never. Jen,
The way the kids think, because they don't use the phone.
Jen, who's the tall, dark, and handsome guy in the Viper over there? She asked and gave Nick a little
Nick.
wave.
He's simple. You cannot have sex with him. He thinks he's a big boy. I take him along on missions sometimes. He calls them missions. I know they're just cases, but he thinks we're like secret agents.
Megan gave him a little wave and a crazy stalker face. Nick's a nice person.
What does that mean?
Nick's a nice person.
No. I want you to explain what a crazy stalker face means.
Wide eyes.
So like the clingy girlfriend meme?
Yes.
That's horrifying and not sexy.
I know.
Or is she trying to be sexy?
I don't think so. Nick's a nice person, so he waved back. A wave that said, "Hi, who the hell are you? You need professional help, but in a good way."
She is so against the two of them fucking.
So what can you tell me about the bones? I asked, changing the subject. Well, she began.
Oh, they're definitely bones.
Jen, Nick screamed. He jumped out of the car and chased after something in hot pursuit. Excuse me, he does this a lot. I smiled sarcastically and began running.
No one else noticed, because I'm pretty sure we might be dead.
Freeze! CPD, he yelled. A tall, blonde teenage boy continued to run from Nick. The kid looked back and inevitably slammed into a tree. Oof.
Inevitably?
Inevitably. Because there's all these trees in Chicago. Remember?
They're in a forest now?
We're in Chicago. Well, they're on a farm in Chicago.
In the middle of Chicago.
Yep.
Right next to that big giant bean.
Ooh, I said to myself. That had to hurt, I finished. Nick caught up to the kid and helped him up.
Jen, why the fuck do you care all of a sudden? He's a criminal. He was running. You should be
from the crime scene that they didn't clear.
You should be pistol whipping him in the back of the head right now.
Nick caught up to the kid and helped him up. Nick, I panted, catching my breath. The kid moaned. He had a nice gash in the center of his forehead and a pretty good waterfall going, but he was going to be fine. Why the hell were you chasing him? I asked, finally catching my breath. Well, I saw him sneaking out of the barn because we didn't clear the goddamn fucking crime scene.
And then he gave me a really bitchy look and flipped me off, and I was like, oh, I'm going to show him.
Oh my God.
So help me give him a wedgie.
Well, I saw him sneaking out of the barn. First, I called Curtis. No response. But when I called Shane... Why would it be Curtis, Nick? You just left them in the interrogation room. You just left that boy. First, I called Curtis. No response. But when I called Shane, the kid bolted. And he continued to explain as we walked back down to civilization.
Civilization is 5 steps away.
The crime scene, yeah. Oh, well, that makes sense, I replied. When Shane was a bit more lucid, Nick cuffed him and handed him over to the paramedics. I don't want to ask, Paige greeted. He's a suspect in the case, I implied.
Yeah, but it looks like you harassed him.
It looks like you assaulted him.
We need... Guys, we can't... Your insurance, the lawyers, they're going to take your badges.
The car bomb. I didn't kill nobody, Shane panted. He was about to make a run for it when he passed out. I'll ride with him to the hospital. Jen, meet me there when you're done here. Cool? He asked, getting into the ambulance. Cool, I returned. He tossed me his keys and I closed the doors. The ambulance drove away.
Who said that? Nick or Tom?
Nick is going to the hospital.
Okay.
It's a valid question. There's a lot of male pronouns. The ambulance drove away. Wow, he's cute, Megan said dreamily. Hey, I need you back on this planet, I snapped. Meg, come with me, I said. Okay, will we get to see Nick? She asked optimistically. Down, Sparky, I replied. We got into Nick's...
We're doing a job right now.
We're in the middle of a crime scene.
Like, I get that you're horny, but Jesus. Calm down for 5 seconds and explain to me what these bones taste like. I don't know how you do your job. I'm going to be honest. I'm sorry.
More like, she wants to bone.
I'm embarrassed for you.
We got into Nick's car and drove after the ambulance to the hospital. Talk bones to me, I said. Sounds good. It's a subject I can converse. Both femurs were broken. Hairline fractures on the right and left knuckles.
Is she a toddler?
No.
Because, like, she's like, I'm going to prompt. It goes from, I like boy, to, oh, the one thing I care about and I can talk to you about. Good.
Good, my dear friend who I'd known for many years. Sounds good. It's a subject I can converse. Both femurs were broken. Hairline fractures on the right and left knuckles suggest that she tried to punch her way through the horse. One punch was hit with such power that the radius bone and the ulna bone pushed the humerus into the scapula, and then it conked the clavicle to the side.
Just conked her
Collarbone?
collarbone. That's the word.
Conked the clavicle to the side, into the neck vertebra to the left, breaking her neck.
She punched it so hard she broke her own neck.
Inside of a horse.
So she had enough range to rear her arm back and then...
Yeah, because you know what? She's super, just like her kid was when he turned his fucking brain to jelly inside of the other horse.
These people keep hitting themselves so hard they die.
Inside of horses. Instead of, I don't know, literally doing anything else.
They're lucky they haven't sneezed themselves to death before. No. They only gain superpowers when they're completely submerged in horse blood.
That's where the bone strengtheners come from. Horse viscera. We figured it out, guys. Megan reported triumphantly. Right, you lost me at sounds good, I replied sarcastically. She punched...
You don't know the scientific names for bones? You're a goddamn CSI person.
She punched the ribcage so hard that her arm jerked her shoulder to the right and it snapped her neck like a mean brother to his sister's Barbie doll, Megan replied.
That sounds impossible.
That sounds just downright silly.
Oh, you're right. Never mind. And then they both just like...
Sit in silence.
And he goes, so have you been good since...
college?
School?
So you know for a fact that the bones were female, I asked for confirmation. Yep, the pelvic bone was very wide and the cheekbones were thin and narrow, Megan finished.
So it was either, a woman or some pansy-ass bitch.
Can you confirm that it was Rebecca Mitchelson? I asked. Maybe. I can tell you the age, sex, TOD, race, the whole shebang.
You can
Megan
tell me the TOD just from a bone?
Yep, down to the minute.
So she's a wizard, too.
I flipped open my cell phone. Nick, change in plan. I'm heading to the morgue. I'll be at the hospital in a half hour, I reported. Okay. Shane's wrists had abrasions on them that suggest he was chained up in that barn. He was starved for at least a week, and he's desperately dehydrated. He has cuts, bruises, and a broken arm. I doubt he killed Nick. He just woke up. I'm going to go talk to him, Nick returned, then hung up. I put the cell back into my pocket and made a sharp turn to the right.
So Mitchell is a serial killer. Mitchelson?
Yeah, one of the Mitchelsons is a serial killer. Sarah and Mr. Mitchelson, who doesn't have a name for some reason.
It's just Mitchelson or Butcher Man.
Down at Hammerham's on 5th. Off to the morgue. You and Melch are going to get along great, I said, and we pulled into the parking lot. We walked down to the morgue. Wow, hello. I'm Dr. Greg Melch, M.E., but the ladies call me...
Don't hide from your words.
But the ladies call me Dr. Chocolate. Melch
Yeah, you're so stupid and racist.
Melch greeted Megan. Hi, she melted.
Oh, she fell for that?
She loves it.
She's a little dumb slut.
Little dumb slut.
No, she's She's just dumb.
Smooth, I whispered sarcastically.
Don't be sarcastic. It obviously fucking worked.
Smooth like chocolate. Milk chocolate. Melch, what
is
did
that
you...
in the thing, or is
No,
that you?
that's just me. Melch, what did you need us for? I asked, making sure he was still in somewhat of reality. Oh, he mumbled, trying to think. Put your eyeballs back into your head, please. Megan's here to check out the bones, not you. Sorry, I smiled. Megan was already over at the body table. Caucasian, female, mid-30s to late 40s. The femur suggests heights approximately 5'9" to 5'10". The bones look to be about 5 to 6 years old, Megan finished. Great, I beamed. Bzz, bzz. Jen, your jacket's buzzing, Melch pointed
Oh my
out.
God, she figured out how to fix her phone.
I picked it up. She's already... No, it already buzzed before.
I missed that.
Yeah.
There was no comment.
Woods, I said. Jen, you gotta help me. Come to the hospital, quick. No, put it down. No, stop. Nick screamed. Then nothing. I heard a few rumpling sounds and then the dial tone.
And then some grunts, and then, oh yeah, give it to me harder.
No. I swear to God, if there are more bone strengtheners, because Nick can't seem to restrain a child. Nick, I gotta go. Be good, you two, I joked, and hightailed it out of the morgue and into my car.
And then Melch just leans against the corner table, or whatever you call it, and he goes, so, you want to fuck on a dead body?
And she goes, no, I want a bone.
I don't get it.
Is that a yes? I pulled into the hospital and hustled to the front desk. Hey, excuse me? I asked the doctor at the desk. I need Shane Morrison's room, please. I smiled. The doctor looked me over. You'll have to fill out some paperwork, sign in, and I'll get back to you, he droned. I'm usually a calm person, but when my partner's in trouble, I tend to get a bit pissy. I yanked him by his tie so we were face to face. Listen, Mushroom Head, I'm CPD. Where's the friggin' room? I asked, shoving my badge into his stupid face. Top floor, room 237, he muttered. I let go and rushed down the hallway.
And then he called security.
Nick, what's going on? I asked, banging on the door. Crash! A glass shattered against
windows
the door.
in every door, usually.
A glass shattered against the door window. I kicked the door open, and Shane was standing up, holding his IV cart like a sword, slashing randomly at the air. This kid's got a broken fucking arm, by the way.
He's using the other arm.
Have you ever, like, held an IV cart? Like the metal pole?
No.
That shit's heavy.
I'm assuming he ripped the pole off, like, the stand and is just whipping around like a fencing thing.
Ah, interesting. Okay. Nick was standing on the opposite side of the bed, attempting to subdue the boy. Let me guess, interview not going so well? I asked sarcastically, shutting the door.
Why isn't
behind me.
anyone else helping? Obviously, there's a lot of noise. Do you think nurses are just going, like, hiding from the noise, like, pretending they don't hear
They're
it?
like, oh my God, the fucking CPD's here again. Those obnoxious assholes. What was your first guess? Nick replied. Get away. I didn't do anything. Let me go, Shane barked.
You are in so much pain. Shouldn't you be happy you're out of the torture room that they kept you in? What is your thought process here, Shane?
Shane swung to the right and took out the heart monitor by the bed. Shane, calm down. We're here to help you, I said calmly. I have an idea, Nick said. Anything would be good, I replied.
Cool. Pulls it out of his gun and shoots him. I did it. He's calm.
I replied. I walked a little closer, and Shane nearly took my head off. Nick pulled his .45 and shot 3 rounds into the ceiling.
Close.
Nick, I yelled. Shane was distracted.
Everyone has tinnitus in that room now.
He also killed the person above Shane. Oh, no, wait. It's the top floor.
Oh, good.
Top floor. We're fine.
There was one dude on the roof smoking. He just
Oh,
shot up through the legs.
Yeah. Shane was distracted. I pulled the cart away from him, and Nick restrained him from trying to take it back.
He didn't immediately freeze because he knew he could get shot.
He did. He was distracted.
Okay, distracted me like, what was that?
What? Mushroom Head and a nurse ran into the room.
What does that mean?
I think it means he's got like a bowl cut.
Okay.
What is going on in here? Mushroom Head exclaimed. We're having a tea party. What does it look like? I replied sarcastically.
It looks like you're about to murder a man in this room.
A boy? Shane kicked wildly at the air and struggled to get away from Nick. A little help? Nick asked. Shane bit Nick's arm and Nick released him. Kelsey! Shane called and ran to me and embraced me with a hug. Whoa, little man, I opposed. He gripped harder and continued to cry. It was so terrible. You gotta help me, sis. Shane cried. The nurse came up behind Shane and stuck him with a needle, and Shane fell into her arms asleep. I'll get a few more nurses in here, she said, laying Shane down into a wheelchair.
How
and
about
she
an
exited
orderly?
the room.
Just strap him down. They do that in hospitals all the time.
Yeah, I also like how it took 3 gunshots to get anybody to come in. And it, by the way, had been happening for at least 10 minutes because it was happening when Nick called Jen on the phone.
And everything's only 10 minutes away in Chicago.
Yeah.
It's not like she drove for an hour.
Come on, you two need to leave, Mushroomhead frowned and let us out. Ow, the little bastard bit me, Nick complained.
You have rabies.
It's bleeding. Ew, I smiled.
Ew. You
got rabies.
You could be infected with something. You might need stitches.
The nurse that took Shane came out of the next room. Thank you for helping us with Mr. Morrison. He has mild psychosis and temporary schizophrenia. Due to the trauma and starvation.
I hate it when I get a little just uppity, I haven't eaten enough today, and I just get a little schizophrenia.
Just temporary schizophrenia.
But it goes away once I have a snack.
Yes. You're not you when you're hungry. That's the entire Snickers campaign.
You hear voices.
Yeah, and they're telling me to eat a Snickers.
Subliminal. All right, that's a different kind of joke.
He's strapped to the bed if you want to finish the interrogation. Oh, Mr. Cragen, you're bleeding. I'll fix that. The nurse smiled and showed us into Shane's room. This is Nurse Beth. She's the wonderful nurse that attends Shane, Nick introduced. Mr. Morrison was talking to Mr. Cragen about 10 minutes ago when I brought the medicine tray in. They seemed fine. Then this woman came into the room and it was kind of freaky, the nurse added. Woman? Nick? Forgot to mention that? I asked. Hey, that wasn't exactly high on my list. Easy there, Nick replied. The nurse continued to patch up his arm. Samantha Mitchelson came by, didn't say anything, just walked in, gave Shane a look, and left. That's when things started to go south, Nick finished.
Why didn't you stop her?
Well, because Shane freaked out.
Shoot him in the head. He's not a problem anymore. Then you go, I legitimately would expect that from him.
I know, that's fair. I gave him a look. Hey, don't give me that, he yelped. All set, the nurse finished. Thank you, Nurse Beth. Nick smiled, making googly eyes at the nurse, who gave them right back. I slapped him on the back of the head.
What is happening?
They're flirting.
Why is this all of a sudden a thing that everyone wants to
Bang Nick? Because he's attractive.
But Jen doesn't want none of that.
No, they're best friends. It would be weird. They're coworkers.
Doesn't stop Megan.
Megan's not a coworker. She's just a consultant that they brought on. Thank you, I replied, and I dragged an unhappy Nick away from the hospital and outside. We stood at the entrance, and I noticed it was a very nice July day. Oh, well. Out front, I dialed Melch. Hey,
What?
Melch, it's Jen. You have anything else on our body? I asked. Actually, I do.
I came on a little bit. Sorry.
Do you have anything else?
How'd you know?
Do you have anything else on our body? Yeah, Megan.
Better.
Thank you. Actually, I do. The drug test shows muscle relaxants. Horse muscle relaxants, that is. These can only be accessed by... Melch began, but I interrupted. A vet? I said. Yeah, how'd you know? Melch asked.
They're called animal doctors.
Samantha Mitchelson is a vet. She drugged and stuffed her brother into a horse, I said, and hung up. Good work, Nick said, and got into his car. Where are you going? I asked him. To the Mitchelson farm. Hop in and call Paige, Nick replied, and started the car. Looks like we're even. I'm carless and you're phoneless, I smirked, getting out my phone. Yeah, but I don't have Mr. Moneybags as a dad, he retorted. I found my phone and dialed. I think the implication is that Nick's phone was destroyed in the struggle with Shane because there has been no mention of what has happened to Nick's phone.
Yeah, I just kind of was going to go with it and be like, sure.
This is fine. We drove back to the Mitchelson farm and parked just above the end of the driveway. The sun was setting and it was only 6 o'clock. We got out of the car and quietly shut the
So
thin
it's
black...
probably really cold.
It's July.
It's only 6 o'clock in the sun setting.
There's a whole bunch of problems here, but it is Chicago.
It also might not be.
The sun was setting and it was only 6 o'clock. We got out of the car and quietly shut the thin black doors behind us. I saw Sam and her father arguing in the front of the barn. Nick, look, I said, and we watched curiously to see what was going to happen next.
Kiss.
Dad, you did it to Mom, Sam yelled at her father, making our jobs a hell of a lot easier. Mr. Mitchelson smacked Sam across the face, making it very difficult for Nick not to turn around and shoot him. But he kept his cool and continued to listen. How could you kill your brother? At least I killed your mother for a good reason, Mr. Mitchelson exclaimed. Yeah, really? What was that reason? Because she was going to dump your insane ass? I mean, I doubt she was going to leave you for your excellent bomb-making skills. You couldn't even blow up a stupid scientist. I hate you, Sam screamed back.
Oh, so they're both just dumb and crazy.
Well, he did have a window to slip it under my car after he left the interrogation room, I told Nick. He nodded in agreement, and we continued to eavesdrop.
You know, he just had it on his person the entire time we were talking to him.
Yeah. I killed Nick to get him out of this family, she finished. Well, so much for a formal confession, I said to Nick.
Wait. That's literally her reasoning? I did it to save him. He would have suffered.
So I put him in a horse and forced him to turn his own brain to jelly.
I couldn't think of any
other way.
No, that's mercy in this family.
Mitchelson hit Sam so hard she hit the ground. He began to drag her into the barn. No, not the barn. I didn't mean it. Please, no, she screamed. We drew our guns and ran after them. Paige, where are you? I asked myself. A scream from the barn petrified me. No more waiting. We fixed our guns to a firing position. Nick banged on the door. CPD, Mitchelson, come out with your hands up, he yelled, but no response. I kicked the door open with the lovely sound of the sirens behind us. We walked further into the barn, and what I saw, I'll never forget. There is an awful track record that we have discussed that not only they never clear crime scenes, but there's always more bodies by the end of the case than the beginning of the case. Always.
Okay. Don't know why you needed to preface that.
I just want you and the listeners and even myself to an extent to let you all know that I am in fact aware. Samantha Mitchelson was hanging from the ceiling about 3 or 4 feet off the ground with a loud iron poker through her chest. He
did that in the 30 seconds it took for them to run?
Yep. She was dead and I could have stopped it. Paige in 4 uniforms.
To be fair, you were going to throw her in jail for the rest of her life.
Know. Paige in 4 uniforms busted into the barn behind me. Freeze, CPD, put the poker down and your hands up, Paige ordered. Mitchelson dropped the poker and ran.
He had another poker?
He did.
I'm going to stab you all.
Stick you all to the barn walls. The word duh particularly comes to mind.
You know, duh. Right after, you know what you say right after
regretting a decision that you've made?
No, right after seeing a young woman whose age we're not sure of stabbed into a wall.
She's a murderer. It's fine. Paige, you go around front. Come on, Jen, let's go get the son of a bitch. Nick barked, and we split.
Paige just stops and goes, I'm your boss. I should be giving the orders.
But yes, that is a good plan. Nick and I ran out to the back of the barn, and a Louisville slugger swung in the direction of my head, but missed terribly and shattered against the barn wall.
I was never really in any danger, you see, because he is terrible at his job when it comes to killing me. But when it comes to killing other people, he does it so quickly I can't even see it.
Mitchelson, stop, I yelled and fixed my weapon onto him. He turned around and ran.
Shoot him! He's already killed someone!
Nick, hot on his heels. I ran after them. Nick tackled Mitchelson to the ground and cuffed him. Oh, he's got a name. Jonathan Mitchelson, your ass is under arrest for the murders of Rebecca Mitchelson, Samantha Mitchelson, and Nick Mitchelson. Also the attempted murder of Jen Woods and Shane Morrison, Nick said and slammed Mitchelson's face into a tree. Whoops, you really have to watch for those things, dude, Nick joked. I caught up. Hey, Mitchelson, I said, and I kicked him right in the jewels. That's for my car, I continued. They're just straight up assaulting this man.
It's like, please, if you're gonna kill me, just kill me.
That's for my car, I continued. Whoa, Jen, you could really hurt a guy doing that. Homicidal maniac or not, Nick pleaded, and we escorted him down to the sea of police cars. It's over, guys, Paige assured as we watched the squad car drive Mitchelson to the station. It's not really over. We'll be looking out for another crazed lunatic tomorrow. It's definitely over for Nick, Samantha, and Rebecca Mitchelson, I grimaced, and turned around and got in the car, Nick close behind. You want to talk about it? He asked, starting the car. Does it look like I want to talk about it? I asked.
Oh my God, is the job actually getting to her?
Not really.
Every time we catch a bad guy, 3 people die.
Not really. You want to get some coffee before going to interrogate Daddy Dearest? Nick continued the effort.
You don't need to interrogate him.
Hear me
You
out.
heard everything.
Nah, I want to close this case as fast as I can, I replied, and we made our way to the station.
Then we murdered him.
Bzzz. My cell phone vibrated. Hey, Daddy, I said. Jennifer, how are you, darling? He asked cheerfully. Good, but a suspect blew up my car, I groaned. Oh, no, are you all right? He inquired. Yes. Do you mind sending me a new one? Don't if it's too much trouble, I pleaded. No trouble at all. It's definitely going to postpone the helicopter trip, he beamed. Yeah. Love you, Dad, I smiled. Love you too, he replied, and I hung up. I need to meet him, Nick smiled. Right, I retorted. I patted Nick on the arm. Ow, he yelped. Nick? I asked. Sorry, that's just where Chompy bit me, Nick smiled. We pulled into the lab parking lot, and Nick came to my side and opened the door for me. I got out and stared at the vast building. Shall we? He asked, looping his arm around mine. We shall, I grinned. So, Mr. Mitchelson, you have been quite the busy
Teleport. Shall we? We can only teleport when we're locked arms like this.
So, Mr. Mitchelson, you have been quite the busy little killer, haven't you? Murder, torture, bomb making, stuffing people into horses. Well,
Listen, I can hear what the horses say. They want that to happen to them. That's how they like going out.
Well, aren't you the O.J. Simpson star student, I said.
I bet you thought that was very clever.
I did. Nick, Mr. Mitchelson, and I sat in the silence of the interrogation room. I had to kill my wife. She was going to leave me. Nick was too. Sam made sure of that. So I ended her life. Now no one can leave me, the crazy person jeered. Wow, I was thinking you were going to say something along the lines of, oh no, I'm innocent. I didn't do it. It was an accident. You know, the usual, Nick mocked. Why bother? I've lost everybody now, Mitchelson returned. Officer Jane escorted Looney Tunes out and left Nick and I in the room. I liked that little star student comment, Nick laughed. I liked the implication, I snickered. Well, that was an interesting case, Nick finished. Yeah, but what's wrong with the fear of being left alone? I asked. Everything if you're that crazy, Nick replied. So now that we just put away a psychopathic killer that stuffs kids into horses, you want to go get something to eat? You must be hungry, Nick smiled. Oh my God, I'm starving, I grinned, and we left.
No, I'm so hungry I could eat a horse. Ah!
And this is the only case that hasn't ended with, good night, Jen. Good night, Nick.
Yeah, I was waiting for that.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, they're going to really have to go through a lot to get to the point where they say goodnight.
Yeah. Okay, so now that the case is concluded, what are your thoughts? Thoughts and feelings? How do you feel about your assessment from the beginning?
There's no preacher.
No preacher. But you had thrown out that deduction.
The horse did not do it.
He did not.
Honestly,
Neither horse, by the way.
It was kind of straightforward.
Yeah, I mean, the manners of death were not.
I mean, someone got killed like Michael Myers kills someone in Halloween.
Yeah.
So there was that.
Yeah. Someone punched so hard they broke their neck.
Yeah, scientifically, this one doesn't make a lot of sense. I'm imagining we're never going to see Megan again.
Probably. No, we're not.
Okay.
And you know what? We'll never know if she and Melch did anything.
Had sex on a dead body?
Had sex on the dead body.
Gosh, I sure hope they did.
I would expect nothing less. Okay. So for preaching the horse's mouth, actually, we got quite a few terms in here. We've got a couple pages worth.
Fuck, okay.
Yeah. So the first one is probable cause. Oh my God. a maybe you did it excuse to get something.
Wow. That's problematic.
Here's the worst part. Probable and cause are both fairly easy to actually define.
I mean, you've done that before with words that are easy to define. You've just...
Swab stick, a long Q-tip used to collect evidence.
I feel like you've already done that one before.
Nope. Bomb squad, people who specialize in bombs.
Not bomb defusal or bomb...
Just bombs.
Just bombs. We just think they're neat.
Clock bomb, a bomb that is set off on a specific timer. Detonated, go off. Morgue. We are on case 5 and we are just now defining morgue.
I think you forgot and you're like, oh shit, these people are probably really confused.
Morgue, a place that stores and is to perform autopsies on murdered bodies.
Just murdered.
Just murdered.
What about all the other dead bodies? I don't fucking know.
What? That's not my job. Femur, the leg bone. Radius bone. Arm bone. Ulna. Arm bone. Humerus. Arm bone. Clavicle. Shoulder bone.
Shoulder bone.
That's wrong, Alexis. Scapula. Shoulder bone. Neck vertebra. Neck bone.
The neck vertebrae.
Yep.
It's just...
Neck bone.
So that implies that the word vertebrae just means bone. I want you to know that.
Yep. Dispatch, the radio where all 911 calls go to.
That's so wrong. That is so incorrect. That's dangerously incorrect.
ACU, Animal Control Unit. Witness, the person who saw something.
So we're all witnesses, I guess. We've all seen something.
Phenolphthalein, fancier word for blood spray.
Thanks.
Interrogation, badgering someone into an... Interrogation, badgering someone in an enclosed area for information.
Oh my God. What?
Psychosis, you're basically crazy.
I mean, we already established that you and mental illness weren't great partners.
Schizophrenia, when voices in your head tell you to do stuff.
Did you already define that one?
Probably, and it was, you know what? Probably different.
I think it was the only difference was that the voices tell you to kill people.
Very fair. Kill us in the comments below. Trauma, something bad happened that pretty much messed you up.
I mean, that's
not wrong.
That's the way a 12-year-old would say it, but yeah.
Uniforms, a slang term for police officers. Forensic anthropology.
No, those are outfits.
No, but when you call someone a uniform.
Oh, you're calling
uniforms came in, yeah.
Usually it means a faceless jackbooted stormtrooper.
Yeah. Forensic anthropologist, a person who studies bones in a murder investigation.
So this was like you're going to be your crossover episode where
Yeah.
Bones shows up for half an episode going, oh my God, we know each other.
Pelvic bone, waist bone.
Waist bone.
Waist bone. ME, medical examiner, the head honcho coroner.
That is his official title.
Yep. Caucasian, white, race. It's in parentheses for some reason. O.J. Simpson, a former football player who beheaded some people but was acquitted.
Wait.
Only 1.5 parts of that are correct.
Yep.
I don't know. I cannot believe I thought O.J. Simpson cut off his wife's head. I can't believe I was like, yeah, that's it. That's what happened. And he was acquitted for that.
Like, you say it was such... Like, he did it.
He absolutely did, but he was acquitted.
He was acquitted.
Yeah.
So, what are you going to do?
Psychopathic, not exactly sane. And that's it. That is the end of Case 5, Preaching the Horse's Mouth.
Well, the title made no sense, but...
There was a horse involved.
There was a horse. There was no preaching.
Nope.
Yeah, it was one of the easier ones to follow.
Okay, very fair. Didn't get too weird.
No, it started weird with a person and a horse.
Yes, who turned his brain to jelly.
But that was where we started, and we didn't go any weirder. So
yeah, Good. That was a good.
I'm going to give it an M for medically inaccurate.
All right. Thank you so much, Connor, and thank you for tuning in. And don't forget, you're not good at something until you suck at it first.